Yeah, get these beggars out of here. We work that one in again, huh?
I swear I saw a triangle circle above somebody.
Yeah. Hey, Spider-Man, do a flip. Probably the biggest gasp I've experienced in a theater for a superhero movie in years.
Jabba the Hutt made an appearance in this movie, guys. This is a movie that we kind of all wanted.
And that's why they did not make another one of those movies.
That's why they should have.
They should have actually given. The people deserve Filipino Hobgoblin, I will say.
Nice, we did it. What's your name, by the way?
I'm Spider-Man.
Okay.
And welcome back to another episode of Pinoy versus the World. My name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
As you can probably tell, we've got 4 people here, 2 mics. So I'm going to introduce the third Pinoy to my left, Jared Garalde, JJ Gar on Letterboxd. Say what's up to the people.
What up, people?
What up, people? And in continuing with our balance of passing around the mic today, I'm going to introduce my Pinoy to my left, the immediate left, who hasn't been on since K-pop Demon Hunters, Tyler Bowie, Spidey Ty on Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok, all of the above. Say what's up to the people.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me again.
Hey, everyone.
It's very aggressive. I just push that in your face.
Used to it.
Oh, he's famous. Recently hit 1 million on Shorts on YouTube. Congratulations.
On one particular video, yeah.
Views, yeah.
Two? Oh, do you have...
No, just one video on Shorts.
Okay.
My first one on
Nice.
Shorts. I had
Nice.
some videos on TikTok, Instagram, over 1 million
Nice.
views.
Oh, yeah.
First one on
Easy.
Shorts. So
Easy money.
it's
Yeah.
slowly
Nice.
building that. Just
Nice.
kind of started YouTube.
What's your channel? What's your channel name?
At Spidey Ty on all platforms. YouTube,
Amazing.
Instagram, kind of Twitter. But yeah.
Amazing. Nice.
I was like, Jonas, play the clip. It's a play. It's a play that actually erased Twitter. We don't need Twitter. We don't need Twitter. But what we do need is reviews from everyone here and a lot of thoughts on the movie we're talking about today. Spider-Man, Brand New Day. I think we're in the second or third week now. It is risen to the top of every chart for all-time movies. I mean, we'll get to how much money this has made at the box office. But Spider-Man, Brand New Day. I know all 4 of us have varying amount of opinions. So I'm going to start with Chris because I do want to start with our classic non-spoiler review. And maybe, would you actually like a synopsis? Would you like a Letterboxd synopsis to begin with?
Why not?
Why not? According to Letterboxd, a brand new day starts now. Fighting crime full-time as Spider-Man in a world that doesn't remember him, and the pressure of seeing his old friends move on without him sparks a change in Peter Parker he may not have the power to control. But that transformation might also be the only thing that can stop a shocking new threat to the city and those he loves, a powerful villain no one can even see. And I really do think it's funny they say shocking because I just think of the Shocker every time. So I'll pass it off to you, Chris. Non-spoiler reviews and rating, if you will, on Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Sure. Well, I'm going to go with my rating right away, and it's going to be 3.5 out of 5. It's going to be 3.5 out of 5, and that's because Jared and I were talking about this before you guys came here. But it's almost like the Home trilogy is very much like MCU tee-off movies in a lot of ways, and they are some of my favorite Spider-Man movies. But this one is almost begging you to judge it as a real movie. I don't know if that's the best term, but you know what I mean.
Get these beggars out of here.
Yeah, get these beggars out of here. We're gonna we work that one in again, huh? But it's almost like the best moments of the movie for me are the sort of the emotional character beats, and I think that's what Destin Daniel Creton was sort of brought in for. If you've seen Short Term 12, that's where Brie Larson got her start. Rami Malek's in the movie. Lakeith Stanfield's in that movie.
Damn.
So that's
stacked.
Yeah, it's a super in terms of indie movies, that's quite a starter for him. But he's done Shang-Chi. He did Just Mercy with Michael B. Jordan. He's done a lot of cool, interesting movies on his own, and you can tell he kind of brought that feel to Spider-Man. It's clearly the best looking of the four Tom Holland movies.
Yeah.
There's super deep shadows and stuff. There's tons of cool breakdowns online about all this stuff, and yeah, I just think the way that the movie is helmed from a visual perspective and emotional character perspective, I think is really good. I just think that. And there's nothing that I hate about the movie, but it's just there's just no hell yeah moments for me. Everything's just like really solid.
Coming off of a movie that was
Yeah.
full of hell yes. It's literally the whole point that No Way Home was made, almost for a bunch of hell yeahs, a lot of cameo
Well,
appearances.
that one is made for like theater reactions, and I do respect that this movie does not think that bigger is better.
Yeah.
It definitely like grounds him and like takes a lot of things away from Peter, and forces him to like try to like basically redo his life. And I do respect that a lot. But they're just like, there's nothing that really like, even from like a writing perspective or like an action perspective, everything's like really good and really like well made. It's just there's just something missing for me personally. Yeah. That's where I'll leave it right now.
We'll leave it there because I have no better way to swap onto the other end of the spectrum than getting Spidey Ty over here all riled up, ready to give us his rating, his review. Because I'm going to ask you once when I give you the mic, you got to tell us how many times you've seen this film, for one. Because, I mean, I came off of 15 hours of The Odyssey. It's obviously we all got our own things we go back to the movie theaters for. But Spidey Ty, what are your non-spoiler reviews and ratings on Brand New Day?
First off, I've seen this. Has been like 2 weeks since the movie came out now. I've seen this movie 6 times.
Nice, nice.
Probably the most one of the most I've seen a movie in theaters. Obviously, I'm biased, but even not being biased, I gave this a 5 star on Letterboxd. It's probably a 4.5, but
Okay.
I'm gonna keep saying at 5. Yeah, I had the opportunity to see this movie a couple days early on Monday during the same time as the LA premiere at a press screening here in Seattle. So that was my first time watching. And I just watching the movie, I was smiling, giddy, like kicking my feet throughout the entire run through of the movie, because to me, like, I thought it was just such a great, simple story of Spider-Man being back grounded, going day by day, like realizing like the whole theme of the movie is like you can't do things alone. He's isolated, he's depressed, he's all alone, but then like throughout the movie you see that he really needs help, really needs people with him. And to me, I think just going back to basics like that were just so fun, so cool, especially from someone that read the comics as a kid, watching the animated TV show and all that. Seeing Spider-Man back within New York, being like that friendly neighborhood guy, is what really drew me and loved this movie a lot.
Incredible. Well, speaking of getting these beggars out of here, let's keep one of them here.
We're giving it to the beggar.
We're giving it to the beggar. JC Garalde.
Yep.
How are you feeling about this? The beggar. Jared, how do you feel about this film? Coming out of it, and how many times have you seen it too? Because 6 is a lot. That's a real sinister number.
It is. I seen it 3 times. So half as many times, but I will say I wasn't actually as hot on it on my first viewing, but it got better every single time. And I think the reason for that is because I think I was going into it. I said I wasn't going to go into it with any expectations, but I think that's definitely what happened. I was going into it fresh off of not fresh out of No Way Home, but like No Way Home happened like how many years ago?
You got your own spinning wheel, bro. Come on.
I'm in this mindset of what happened in No Way Home, and I'm thinking, okay, there's a lot of ideas that were presented at the end of that movie that I didn't know. I was like, okay, well, that chapter is closed. This is going to be something completely different. And I think in a lot of ways it is, but there were certain ideas, maybe certain characters that I was like not expecting to see. I mean, they're in the trailer, so I wasn't expecting to see like Zendaya and Ned back so soon and everything. And I was like, and then we had like all of the MCU ties, as Chris was saying, and I very much view like the Home trilogy as like this MCU, Spider-Man trilogy, and I was like ready for something new and that like New York kind of feel. And when I first watched it, I was like, I don't know, like I don't know how to feel, especially with like a lot of characters that are in the movie, and I just felt like maybe there was some stuff that was on the cutting room floor that like got shifted around a little bit. But then the more and more, the second and third watch, I was like, okay, when I'm taking the movie with as how it is and like what it's offering, it's like this really like emotional movie, and it's kind of almost addressing a lot of like the Spider-Man expectations that people have of the character, which I really liked. And there's like, and the moments that he did have with the characters that were in it were awesome, and like they're very down to earth, and it feels like a very honest movie that we haven't gotten, in my opinion. Like with the Home trilogy, this is the most honest feeling, and I really like the characterization of Tom Holland. You can really tell he's like had some time with this character and everything. And yeah, and like we'll talk about it later, but like really love how New York plays into this this movie a lot. And I think the moments themselves and the movie as a whole were definitely a lot more like resonating with me on the second and third watch. But I am definitely on Chris's wavelength where I still think it was missing that like whoa like moment, but I think it was just because we've had so many highs and like maybe even just this year in movies that I was like I don't know what that'll be, but I didn't get that. But I think it's because of it's very much living on that grounded emotional level where it's not trying to do too much.
Yeah.
And I can respect that a lot about it. So ultimately, I think like I was going to say 3.75, but I know I don't want to do that. But I'm going to round up to 4 because I think the moments of the movie I love as a whole for sure.
Good, because I can say happily for myself, I'll fill in that last little spot from 3.5 to 5 that we have not hit yet. I'm giving the newest Spider-Man movie Brand New Day 4.5 out of 5. And I'm like really solid on that. If anything, I'd probably give it a little like it'd be probably like closer to that 4.25, right? But it's really like a combination of one. Chris already hit on it. It's probably my favorite looking Spider-Man movie, and there's something about having Tom actually be in a physical suit again that might be hitting at my nostalgia factor a bit too much. But like, you know, it's the best part of the Andrew. That's so funny. This is gonna happen a lot this episode.
I thought you wanted to chime in right there.
Oh, you're definitely allowed to
chime in. Going off like him wearing the physical suit, like one aspect, like it's a little bit in the trailer, you can see his eyes through the lenses, which I thought was just such a great detail, expressive, and original too. And you actually feel Tom is in that suit a majority of that film.
Well, let me tell you, my favorite scene where you see the eyes through the lenses of his masks, or when him, and it's probably my favorite scene in the entire movie, is the first time MJ and Peter are having like a conversation, but it's like Spider-Man is talking to MJ. And it's in Frank Castle's like New Jersey like abode that's like a death trap. I mean, we're gonna get to Frank Castle and how good of a relationship he had with Peter Parker throughout the whole movie. But like in that scene in particular, I'm like, not only am I looking at a couple that most likely in real life is married or will be married one day, which I think is something that factors into why they brought back Jacob Batalon. I mean, shout out our Filipinos.
They are married.
Yeah, they are, but we don't know. But we know. We don't know, but we know.
Bowie says yes, we do.
Bowie knows.
Yeah.
So they're married in real life. And then we got the CEO on the other end. You know what I mean? And I just feel like there's a part of this that was never going, like you were never going to remove MJ and Ned from the story unless you made a full commit last movie to really like write them out of this entirely. So, you know, I was also feeling a little worried that it wouldn't work for me. I will say that after, you know, they showed a bit of restraint. Actually, I think a lot of restraint in this movie that I really respect. Destin. Oh my God, I always miss it. Destin Daniel Creston.
It's your destiny.
It's my destiny to pronounce Destin correctly. But Destin's vision of how this movie wanted to pick up from the home trilogy, that was just so like, it was them as children. Like they feel like young adults, and like they are all about the same age as all of us in real life, like 29, 30. And they play off like young adults graduating from college really well. So like I'm a fan of the way it looks. I think the soundtrack and like honestly like the mic drops, not the mic drop, the needle drops are all like spectacular. I love them. We're going to use spectacular a lot today. I loved every single needle drop in this movie. I think the story and how they interweave all of the side characters like Hulk, Black Widow. I mean, you got people coming in like it's like we talked about. It reads like a really good Spider-Man comic where his pain and like suffering is still like the main plot point. But that's where that oomph hits for me. The oomph hits for me when the Hulk is on screen and he's like, finally, I'm like, holy shit, we have the Hulk back. I wasn't expecting this. Thankfully, I didn't watch like a whole lot of trailers. I knew he was going to be in it, but I was like, I didn't think we were going to get the big, like the huge Hulk looking again. And then little scenes like with Yelena when you're in like her humble abode, it makes for like a great like vibe between Peter Parker and showing how much everyone loves Spider-Man without knowing who Peter Parker is in this version of the universe. And I think Destin kind of landed it really well. And it took a couple viewings for me. On the second viewing, I was like, wow, everything here works. I mean, everything from the beginning montage to the middle ground scenes where you're like, oh my God, we'll get into Sadie Sink and spoiler territory very shortly here. But like when the Sadie Sink character shows up, crazy, man. Look at this guy's face. Say it.
Who that?
Who that?
Was she in this?
You ever seen
Was she in
Stranger
this?
Things?
Stranger Things?
Yeah, I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
So I heard she's a pretty good actress.
Weird.
So we'll get into that later. But in that middle ground where she gets involved in the story and you're like, oh my God, there's like all this stuff with Man Spider and like what like we thought was Man Spider with this version of Peter Parker, and like at the end of the day, like Peter is not accepting both sides of himself, and that is such a like quintessential Spider-Man story, right? I got to talk to this. We will talk to this guy about how quintessential it really is. But to me, it felt like it really was like one of the most comic book-y movies the MCU has ever produced, and that for me is what I'm looking for out of these films. And I do agree we're maybe missing the big one that would have maybe made it a perfect 5 out of 5 for me. But I'll say this is spoiler for my rankings at the end. This is my favorite live action Spider-Man movie. I've decided it is number 1. Spider-Verse movies clear everything else. But we won't get into that. We won't get into maybe we will get into that. But yeah,
no, I mean, I will say it does feel like and that's what I was noticing on that second half. It does feel like these are like issues that we're reading. Like we have the Black Widow issue, and then we have like the like different arcs in this, whatever this big arc is, and like we are reading issues like, oh, this is the thing that he has with the Punisher and the Hulk, you know what I mean? And I thought that was really cool. So it's like, to your point, I completely agree. It does feel very comic booky in that aspect.
It felt like a great comic movie just come to life. Like Spider-Man's in New York, and these heroes are also in New York. And so he swings by, just knows who the Punisher is, just knows who Black Widow is, and then meets up with the Hulk. So in that aspect, I love how different it was compared to Homecoming trilogy. It was very MCU-y, if that makes sense. Because first time Spider-Man in the MCU, they want to make it a big thing. You have Iron Man, you have Nick Fury, all these guys, all these characters, like making sure like Spider-Man's in the MCU. So many like Easter eggs, all this stuff. This was just a Spider-Man movie that just so happened to be in the MCU, which I really like that aspect. Like, even Frank being there, like I said, the Hulk, all that. They just did a really well job, just making sure those characters didn't overshadow at all, and like they just made sense with the story. Like Frank's was like 100%. One of the best supporting characters. Even Hulk's scene that like it was very, can I say brief? As brief as it was, like it made sense. It was in it for a perfect amount of time. So that's what I really enjoyed, like how he just lives in this world that superheroes are living in, and still be able to get that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man story.
It felt very organic. It felt very organic the way that it was inserted, rather than this was just like, okay, Avengers, right? Y'all, like he's still in New York, and it makes sense for all of these characters to be here. Even the Hulk, which I was actually the most skeptical about of his inclusion at first.
Easily could have been skeptical about going in.
And I love the way that they do that, which I mean, I love the interactions that they have. I
mean, final note on the interactions for me, at least, like I think the Frank Castle aspect of this shows you how like the storytelling of Tom Holland Spider-Man is evolving in a way where he's being looked at as like a contemporary, finally, like a friend to some of these people, like people who look at Spider-Man because they love Spider-Man. They don't know the Peter Parker side yet, but it's like, again, it's like, wow, he could get so much love and acceptance and like ability to work with his colleagues and be seen as a colleague, rather than like someone that like a Tony Stark is bringing up, right? Like someone that is like being financed entirely, like he's not making his own suit. Like a lot of his ability to have operated the way he wanted to as Spider-Man came from the pockets of Tony Stark, a man who's dead. And then I'm looking forward to seeing what the fuck happens in like the Doomsday, like after movies of like if they ever interact. But it's like, you don't got to worry about it because this is a single story told through the eyes of a really down bad Peter Parker, who doesn't like Yelena says, it's like the sad man has friends finally, like when he's like trying to rekindle some of these friendships with people that he literally chose to make them forget, which is such a Peter Parker thing. Like, of course you're going to think about the people you love more than going to therapy first. Like I ain't never seen Spider-Man in therapy. Maybe he needs to go, but yeah, maybe final thoughts before we get into spoilers.
There's enough MCU in the movie to make it feel like a kind of a Saturday morning cartoon type of thing where it's like, okay, yeah, Hulk's over here, Yelena's over here. We got other characters kind of circling, and there's even like literal like nods to, and these are in the trailer, like the splash pages at the beginning of like they're like just like reenacting the comics. That made it feel more like comic booky. I just kind of enjoyed the fact that it can be an MCU thing without needing it to be like the world is ending sort of thing.
Oh, thank God.
It's like, I think even Tom Holland had some sort of quote where it's like, maybe people just want to see Peter Parker save himself this time. And I thought that was a really good like way to put it from Tom. Yeah.
Which like seeing other people's reviews, like that's what people like kind of also didn't like about it, because it didn't like lead to the bigger story and lead to like what happens in the next movie. But for me, it didn't need to do that. Like sometimes you just want a good story, a good movie, and then it just so happens, oh, it's also in this universe as well. That's why we fell in love with the MCU at the beginning. Like all these stories, these characters were having their own moment, and it just so happens they were going to meet up later in the future. So I think going back to that kind of mindset is what made me really appreciate and love how it's back to a basic Spider-Man movie, and it'll lead on to future interactions.
Last thing I'll say about that is that I feel like the best like MCU moments, especially from like the Infinity Saga, were like trying to make like real moments out of like super fantastical things. Like, like Captain America and like Peggy Carter's entire relationship is like not feasible in reality, but it's like very cool to see, like in Winter Soldier, where it's like, he like sees all this time pass and like she's old and all this. Obviously they get back together and stuff. And then like even like in Endgame when like Tony like meets his dad and they have like a moment before he's born.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for Endgame.
Where the hell were you in 2019?
Yeah. But just like stuff like that where there's like, there's like in spoilers for this one, there's like real interesting moments between like people that are like very fantastical, but it makes it feel like very grounded in something that you can relate to in the end.
And yeah, I mean, shoot, out of respect to the people who have not seen this movie yet, because a lot of people have, but I think there's a lot we want to talk about there in spoilers section. So join us after this short break as we get into our spoiler thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day. And we're back to talk about spoilers finally for probably one of the more spoiler-filled conversations you can have about a movie this year. Look at that. Actually, they were cast in the movie. They were in Brooklyn.
Nice, we did it.
And that's how we're going to work this with two mics.
First take.
We're just going to speak through each other, bro. We're going to speak through each other. First take, Jake. I do want to start talking about the insane box office returns and what will probably be one of the 5 or 6 most successful box office movies in the history of movie. Spider-Man Brand New Day is about to pass 700 million domestic this week. I think the projection is going to hit 700 by tomorrow, and we're filming this on Tuesday, August 11th, if I'm right. Brand New Day will become the 4th Marvel Cinematic Universe title to cross 700 million stateside after Avengers Endgame, which is at 858 right now. So it could probably, at the end of the day, it's going to become the highest grossing one for one of those categories, and then followed up by No Way Home, of course, around 800 mil, and Black Panther. Never forget the OG 700. That hit 700 mil before anything else did in the MCU domestically. So
the Russos are on a level because they're directing the Avengers movies.
Yeah,
there's 2 directors that Marvel give them whatever they want. Ryan Coogler, and now for me, Dustin Daniel Credit, dude.
Yes.
Dude, give him whatever he wants to do this movie. The next one or whatever.
I'm sorry, we need Shang-Chi too.
Well deserved. And I'm glad. Yeah. I'm so glad that this is like being accepted like widely, and people are going to see this movie because like it deserves it.
One thing going off with Destin Daniel Cretton, give him all his flowers. One thing I love that he did, kind of going a little tangent, but he really represented Asian culture a lot in this movie. I feel like with actors, like food, locations, like banh mi, 5 banh mi.
It's something simple as having the side character be have the reaction or like be in there. Like it's small things, but it just works so well. And I was so happy. I love that you mentioned that.
Hey, and shout out to 808 too. A lot of Hawaii representation in this movie. Destin and Jacob Batalon from the 808.
Well, I will say, going off of that, this movie really does use its extras like very well. Yes, it uses God. It makes, again, we talk about making New York feel like a city. One way they do it is that, when the whole like, now we're in spoiler, I don't know how much we're going to, in terms of like the body thing that we just alluded to,
I think it's time.
Just like the whole like the whole like possession body swapping effect is like just people like just flicking their heads and like moving their body and then just like transfers to the next person.
Oh my God.
That could easily be like a thing where it's like, oh, you see like an entity or like CG something or like bouncing in between or doing like what they do when Peter go to Peter's mind where it's just like, you enter through like a hole in their eye sort of thing, which doesn't happen.
I think they show so much friggin' restraint in this movie, at least filmmaking wise, to like only use CG when you need to use CG. And then there's so much in the Spider-Man like ethos that like plays well into it being a practical, like not just the practical suit, but practical effects, like having real actors practicing like the mind swapping abilities of like big one. Jean Grey is in this movie as Sadie Sink. Wow. Who would have known? Actually, New Rockstars clocked it about 18 calendar months ago. But it was nice to have them do a little shout out, and then people in the crowd were like, "Oh my God!" And we'll get to Sadie Sink's Jean Grey a little later. A lot of gasps, which is great to like know that you're in a bubble sometimes, and it's like not everyone's watching New Rockstars or these theory videos on YouTube as much as we are. But
the reveal was so almost very mundane, almost like they kind of just throw it on the screen. They're like, "We have the name now," and you're like, "Oh!" There was definitely a moment where we're like. I think there was like sighs of, but there was also sighs of like, Okay, like,
Like we,
Yeah.
you like it, like
Yeah.
it
It's
looked
like,
like
okay,
a
of
duck.
course.
It sounded like a duck. It's probably a duck.
probably a duck,
So,
yeah.
but like we all knew it was like who she was gonna
Yeah.
play. But even when they revealed it, it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, our first screening when we saw like the Amazon Prime screening beforehand, it was like very much that gasp.
Oh hell yeah!
I
yeah,
mean, we
yeah,
were
yeah.
before we watched it, we were like, is it gonna be Hobgoblin? Like we were trying to convince ourselves that
Leeds is
because it
Hobgoblin.
was so like it was such at the moment where we
Okay.
were like, oh yeah, like this is it.
The
But
people deserve Filipino Hobgoblin. I will say.
come on,
Pinoy Goblin.
the CEO can do whatever he
Pinoy
wants.
Goblin.
The CEO is in the top 4 highest grossing movie box office weekend. So
yeah, that's true.
he can do whatever he wants.
I love Jacob
The
Batalon.
CEO of money.
CEO of money,
Yeah.
baby. CEO. He's just the CEO. You can be the CEO of whatever you want, Jacob. And I also have to say it's already crossed 1.7 billion worldwide to finish up
Yeah.
that thought.
Yeah.
And I got this comment off of Reddit because I thought it just broke it down pretty much how crazy the returns are on this film. Highest domestic opening weekend ever, second highest worldwide opening weekend ever, on its way to becoming the highest grossing domestic movie ever with 940 million, maybe a billion gross domestically, and the third highest grossing movie ever with a projected 2.5 billion return. And it could end up being number one. I mean, that would be really hard. You have to pass Avatar, Way of Water. Am I tripping? Or is it
I think it's the
Endgame?
first Avatar.
First Avatar, Avatar 1.
It had a lot of re-releases.
Yeah, we talked about that, right? We were like the breakdown of it. But
But these numbers for just
Crazy
a Spider-Man
numbers.
movie after having a movie like No Way Home with the whole like history of Spider-Man
Mhm.
and coming off like something like Infinity War and Endgame, like all the Avengers MCU, a Spider-Man movie alone's doing these numbers. Like no one's doing it like Spider-Man.
no one's doing this like
No one's doing
Spider-Man. And that's why you got people like Spidey Ty out here holding it down for the culture. You know what I mean? I love this movie, guys. But I think we need to get into talking a little bit about specifics. Anything you want to talk about with the numbers?
No, I mean, I was just gonna say, I love Superman. I love Batman. They're on the Mount Rushmore. I think this probably solidifies that this like
Yeah,
Spider-Man's kind
easy.
of running this right now.
Hand me the
But
mask.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, he is the most popular superhero in the world.
He might be the most popular fictional character in the world.
No,
might
actually,
be a
wait, I was
hot
gonna have a
take,
crazy.
but-
I was gonna have some crazy jokes
is
in the back.
Monkey D. Luffy
Yeah.
or is it Spider-Man? I cannot lie to you.
Listen, but I will say, yeah, you wear the Spider-Man immediate. I think Batman is definitely just as iconic, but I think in terms of pop culture relevance, for
Yeah.
sure,
It's Spidey.
It's Spidey.
I think, and it's showing worldwide that it's Spidey. Oh my God, he's here. Which is going to be a great time for me to transition to our first of our crazy question today. Webby crazy questions.
Crazy question.
We're calling them
number
4
one.
crazy questions because honestly, Webby and Sticky, that just did not work. I could not get it. Could not get it. Organic. Our 4 organic questions. Yeah, this one doesn't lead as much as the burning questions from the Odyssey. But what I will ask you, and I'm going to start off with Chris. Do you think this is Tom Holland's best performance of the movies you've seen him in? And is this maybe one of the definitive Peter Parker Spider-Man performances? Does he lean into being more of, and this is obviously for all of us, lean into more of being like Peter Parker? A nice balance of both of them. And yeah, do you think this is the best you've seen Tom? Because I think it's the best we've seen Tom.
Certainly, I think it's best Peter and Spider-Man because because he spends a lot of time as Spider-Man. You know, he talked about we just watched some of the Hot Ones interviews where like, oh, you know, in the mask he has to like play sort of a different character than, you know, the Spider-Man than like as Peter Parker. And he definitely gets to do that. I love when, you know, the first scene where he goes to the Elena in the pool and he like
Big potatoes.
he like takes off all of his Spider-Man uniform except for the mask, and like that's a great moment when he pans up and it's just the mask. I just love all like the sort of like detective work and all the fun stuff he gets to do as Spider-Man, and then when he takes the mask off, he's just kind of a completely different guy who just like, you know, very much he's like putting on a public face, and he goes back and doesn't talk to anyone about it because he has nobody to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's here,
Nice.
baby.
Fully masked.
He made it. This is
Nice.
actually, you got to strip from the from the neck down.
Yeah. Recreate the scene. But no, I think that in terms of
Not the toes.
not the
Not
toes.
the toes.
That's true. That's also in that scene.
Yeah, that's definitely in that
Yeah,
scene.
That's
Yeah.
also in the scene. But anyways, like his overall performance, I think was fantastic. I think it was great. I think it's his best turn because he gets to be the guy. He gets to do everything.
He's the dude. He's the dude in this.
He gets to be the, like you said, like the classic Spider-Man. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm just looking directly into his eyes.
Well, this is
right
why I
now,
got
honestly.
Spidey.
Yeah.
So,
It is, yeah.
Spider-Man has joined us
I'm
today.
looking. You know, you did a great job. You did a great job.
So
I
have to ask then, aside from the hilarious number of Tom Holland accents that are in this movie, I swear we get a little bit of Brooklyn, a bit of Queens.
So the New Yorker accent when he says like this freaking guy is
guy.
really weird. That was the one part where
wait, hold on now, because I do have to ask Spider-Man himself. Like, do you think Tom Holland just gave?
Do you think you gave your best performance as Spider-Man?
Tell me.
Oh yeah, I think he did very well portraying Spider-Man. He really establishes who he is as a character now. He knows how to play him and making his Spidey persona different from the Peter Parker persona. He's really able to be more expressive, more talkative, more heroic in a way. And so the way he just comes off as more confident in the mask as well.
Yeah. What's your name, by the way?
I'm Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think Tyler went to the bathroom. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's kind of out of here. Huh? Organic or web shooters?
After this movie, organic, man.
Ooh.
After this movie,
okay.
Web shooters are so cool. When they introduced that in the Amazing Spider-Man movie, and finally in live action, it was just so different, so unique. Because like Tobey Maguire obviously has the organic webs and it's so cool, but in the comics and the show and everything, he has mechanical web shooters, and so bringing that to live action was such a unique aspect. And the way you see Andrew Garfield build those mechanical web shooters, and then Tom has his mechanical web shooters, but then going from that transition, I really enjoy, especially seeing how the webbing was different, the sound, the look of it, the visuals, how it came off his wrist was really, really cool. And the way they incorporated the organic web, not just being web and a string. He was able to do so much with it that he can also do like with his web cartridges web shooters as well. So yeah, organic web. Long story short, organic.
There's
webs.
almost a lot of like, I think they actually even said this. There's a lot of Insomniac Spider-Man influence with like how he's doing the webs and he's fighting and everything. And like I thought that was super sick.
Tyler's back.
Yeah. Whoa.
Hey guys, what I
Where's
missed?
Spidey?
What I missed over here?
No, but I have to say last second, because we've all played the PS5 Spider-Man games, and I think what makes this like kind of definitively my Peter Parker at this point, at least live action, is just very much this carryover from the games and appreciation for the wider pantheon of like comics and like what came before, even in like, I think the cinematography reminds me a lot of the grittiness of like the Amazing Spider-Man universe. I think the action and the tanks, especially at the beginning, and a lot of the ways he fights like at a street level remind me a lot of what you do like with a DualSense controller with the PS5. Like I think there's a lot of the kind of awkward comedy that like Tom is able to pull off really well that reminds me of the first 3 Spider-Man movies, the Sam Raimi trilogy. And it's a beautiful mix of it all, where it also makes me feel like it's not just an homage to the past. It's like directly pushing us into a future. And I just don't think maybe you do that with a different actor. But for us, obviously, I don't think I could imagine the definitive Peter Parker and Spider-Man at this point being anyone other than Tom Holland. And it seems like someone like Andrew and Toby would be happy for him, as evidenced in like a No Way Home. Like I think he is just kind of the culmination of what it has taken to get here. And I'm happy that Destin was able to land his vision for what this movie was, because I mean that's what brings it up so high for me, even with some gripes I have about maybe writing and all that. But like Tom's performance, it's clearly his best performance in my opinion.
You alluded to earlier, like sort of the suit in this movie. This feels like the first time that the Spider-Man is actually wearing the suit. He's like, you can see like the wrinkles and like the creases of him like wearing it and stuff. Where the rest, like the MCU Spider-Mans, it feels like
they covered it with CGI.
They replaced the entire like Tom Holland's entire guy.
He has a practical suit when they're making the movies,
Yeah.
but then they cover it in CGI, which just makes it look fake and not unreal. Like I'd argue in the Amazing Spider movies and the Tobey movies,
I was
they
gonna
are
say,
wearing suits.
they are
Like,
wearing it.
Like Andrew Garfield's body language was so expressive. Like when he had, even with the stagnant eyes, he didn't need the mechanical eyes to show his emotions, show like what he's feeling.
Yes.
So in those movies, like you can tell he is wearing in that suit. He is like embodying that character. Like even if it wasn't, like the CGI was great, I couldn't tell. But for this one, for sure, you can definitely know that that's a physical suit that Tom's wearing. He's on set. You see the light hitting. You see him interact with all the actors and characters. Just makes it exactly more real, in my opinion.
And I would say, like, I love the fact I think you're right. Like, definitely Toby and Andrew were in the suit, but I think it was very much reserved for, like, it almost felt like they kept the separation between Spider-Man and Peter Parker very,
It's
separate.
very distinct.
But I love that Tom is in the suit for like a probably majority of the movie, and he's just he's not even like taking off the mask or anything. He's just in there talking to Metzger in damage control, and I loved that. And I was like, because you could just see he's just interacting. Like, this is just this is like this Spidey is just like normal in New York City, and I
Like,
love that about it.
I gotta say the interaction between him and Metzger there, it's probably my favorite scene between the two of those. Two of those characters is like he's saying that he can't tell him something, and then Spider-Man and Peter Parker just to be a little coy about it and then be like, it's a Spider-Man, superhero privileges. I can't really tell you about this.
And you're right. Like Tom is very much embodying, I think, like it's almost kind of in character too, because technically it's canon that he's met the other two. So he's almost embodying both of them in a lot of ways. Like I feel like this is the most expressive he has been in the suit, like with the Punisher scene where he's like, you know what I mean? And I thought that was awesome. And I think like this is, I still love Andrew Garfield's performance as Spider-Man.
Andrew has a special place in my heart. Like he was like our high school Spider-Man. So very distinct in our formative years. That's why Andrew has such an imprint on on me for sure. I don't know as you guys.
I'm team lanky Spider-Man all day.
Exactly. And he's also it's I don't know how fair it is because Tom has definitely had the most like chances at this point.
10
I guess.
Years.
Yeah.
10 years
he's been Spider-Man for 10 years and he's been multiple movies and like but it's interesting because this is the one where I'm like, yeah, like this is for sure his best. And I think he's the definitive Spider-Man, but for a multitude of reasons. But I think because he's kind of come into his own and he's been able to learn from everybody, and now he's like, he definitely plays this more kind of angry. I don't know.
Yeah,
more. I don't want to say that
there's more emotions
tortured
on display. I believe.
Yeah,
some young male emotions. Doesn't have a fully developed prefrontal cortex yet. Looking ass, 23 years old, probably 22.
Yeah.
He's an old ass looking 22-year-old. I cannot lie to you. I love Tom, but he does not look 22. He looked great as like a high schooler though. I cannot lie. These 4 years, I like how everyone's looking more adulty though. It does give that gritty feel to the film. I got to say, I got a second question for us. Chris, do you have any final thoughts you itching at?
Well, just the fact that Tom Holland has his Spider-Man's gone up against every single Spider-Man villain that's ever been in a live action.
We got
Spider-Man
Tombstone
movie.
in this.
Yeah,
we got a great looking Tombstone.
We
didn't even get
Tombstone. And I like
Marvin
the fact
Jones
that
III.
I like that he's able to reference when the organic webs are happening, he's like, oh, Peter too had those. He was cool. I liked that. I like the fact that he's got all the knowledge of Spider-Man to draw from. He's like, oh, it's weird, but the other guy had it, so it's not as weird. So at least he can cope with that in that way because he's he has all the experience of all the Spider-Men, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, even with talking about all the Spider-Man, but just the Homecoming trilogy in general, I think it did really well. Honoring what he went through in that trilogy, very high school, very that time of his life, and now he's in this new chapter. But we don't forget what happens in those home shows, especially with the flashbacks. You see how young all these actors and characters really were.
They're like babies. It's crazy,
like straight babies. And then you see them in this new era in their life, we're in a new era in our lives, and they're a little bit different, a little older, a little more. I don't want to say wiser, just a lot more shit has happened to them now.
And we got Ned, he's got the mustache, and you're like, all right, Ned.
It's you look like a high school gym teacher.
Yeah.
They all look older. I think MJ looks older and acts older. I think Ned looks and acts older. Peter obviously acts and looks older. But they're all still dealing with the problems any 23-year-old's dealing with. It's just coming into being a young adult and a full-fledged adult, which is maybe the final movie of this trilogy if Destin makes one, which he's making the Naruto movie. So we know we're not going to get another.
He's about to cook with that one. There's even a poster in the movie. I will say there was a lot of Naruto in this movie.
Yeah, there was. There low-key was. There low-key was a lot of anime influence.
There's for the Naruto fans, there's this idea of the talk no jutsu, where basically you talk, you talk to the villain and then you change his mind at the end, and you do it through relating and empathizing with them.
Yeah.
And that's what Spidey did to this movie, which is awesome. I was like, he talked no jutsu.
You talk Jujutsu out your way out of this, which is also obviously a superhero power of Peter Parker. It's a Peter Parker superhero power. So I want to jump into the next question though. I'm going to lead us because I know we're doing the mic thing today. So Chris, we'll start with you. Then I want to go to Tyler Bowie. Then I want to go to Jared Garalde, and we'll come back to myself. What is your favorite scene?
So it's a bit of a cop out, but my favorite scene is the very end, the credits. My favorite scene is the credits because I like the fact that it's sort of inspired. The Steve Lacy song, "Oh Yeah," is is playing over it. I just like because all the MCU main on ends is what they're called. Little end credit scenes are always very animated, stylistic, drawings or animations or renderings of things that have happened in the movie. It really caught me off guard, just seeing still shots of just New York City and just people like dancing in the park, playing chess, going to the
living
store
character,
and eating.
finally.
I was like, wow, this is fantastic. I was like, it kind of gave me chills a little bit. And like, it felt like very much like, cause I just, cause the bear just finished up and there's like a character, there's an actor, it's in the bear that's in Spider-Man. But anyways, like it felt like I was watching the bear, but Spider-Man, because even like the font is very like the bear. And so I just love that, it's also just inspired people to make their own versions of the scene in their own cities. Yeah. I love seeing that stuff. Like it always pops up for me now on like YouTube, Instagram. I always watch it because it's very cool. People get the chance to like interact with the trend in a way that's like, because it's like an easy trend to do if you have like a camera.
I mean, they've made one for every major city. I love the Seattle one was great. I was like, they show some love to the South End too. I mean, it's just like how these cities look and operate.
Yeah. So I mean, that really kind of brings the message home for like, we'll probably talk later about, the last scene where like Spider-Man, he gets out of the hospital and he sees how people like adore him and stuff like that. But then like the end credit scene like kind of brings it back to just like daily life and like this is who he's actually like saving, because we're in so much like of Spider-Man's point of view of everything that like you don't realize that sometimes where it's just like, yeah, there are people that live in the city, and I thought that was a very cool thing for the movie to acknowledge in that way. So I'd say that's my favorite scene.
Yeah, and it also just shows like their home, like New York is their friend. Like when I went to New York for the first time as an adult last year, and then like being there, like it felt familiar. Like seeing like those shots of like New York at the end credits, like really helped, like made me see like, wow, I know this city because like I've seen it so many times in movies, TV shows. Like it's like it could be home, it could be a good place to visit, location. So yeah, seeing all those other trending videos, seeing the Seattle one, I was like, that's my home, and I'm proud of that. I love seeing that.
And they're all just like point in time life moments. There was nothing special about any of like those things. It was just like, yeah, like to your point, these are the people that he's saving. This is just people living their lives, and it gives me chills too. It was
one of the it was the last sort of proof that the movie was very restrained for me, because I thought that maybe we're gonna see like Spider-Man iconography on the walls or something like that, or like we're just gonna see like an image of a hero or something, but we don't. They're like they're just images of the city. This
is literally just New York in 2026 or 2025, which is awesome to see, because then it kind of almost puts you in there. It's like, whoa, we're in this world with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes it feel realer. It felt like they're just like, they had the idea, they just went out and just took the shots.
Like this isn't Avengers New York City, you know what I mean? Like where people are like dying or like going like having a natural disaster every month. Like this is like,
they're just like, this is the vibe when you're resilient. Like the people of New York are resilient. It's like that one scene where they're like, yeah, this is where the Battle of New York came, and they got a tank barreling towards you as a tourist. Man, when are they gonna get Zoran up in one of these movies? It's gonna happen. Mom Donnie's gonna be in one of these movies. Tyler Bowie, what's your favorite scene?
It's funny you said like the end credits, the end of the movie is your favorite scene. Because I think for me, the beginning of the movie is my favorite scene. You see Peter Parker, like where he's been these last 4 years, how he's isolated, he's all alone, and he's seeing like MJ Ned through the phone, but then he's just drowning himself in being Spider-Man. Like the moment he's like on the top of the building, just falls backwards, and then you have this whole montage and plays Wolf did. Oh fuck, what was the artist? The
song.
The song, yeah, it's by Wolf something. Plays that song in the whole montage of him fighting crime, fight Tombstone, fight Scorpion, and for him, this is his daily life now. Just always like he fought Scorpion multiple times in this movie. It's like oh, I've got to do this again. So seeing his rogue gallery all displayed on screen, even though there are little moments, it's so cool to see that he's being like I keep saying that, but his friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And it also felt like the PS5 game come to life. Like when he's fighting those goons on top of that roof, like I swear I saw a triangle circle above somebody and just did a super move. Yeah. And for me, I think it was just really cool, like finally seeing Spider-Man in New York fighting crime, doing his thing. And I thought it was just really well, like showed like that 4-year gap we've had between No Way Home and Brand New Day, just established like within 2 minutes.
Yeah, I also like that it shows that he's waited a long time. He's like had a lot of like restraint in like not talking to these people, and like you can see how much like how painful that is.
Yeah, you see like getting the headaches, like his wrist like slowly forming into getting his organic web, getting the heightened senses and all that. You see how much like isolation, depression like is really affecting him.
Yeah.
Until at the end of the movie, when he finally gets out of that, realize he needs these people, needs that help, and accepting who he is, accepting that change in life, and just like I said, it's just a good message in life. How from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, like you can't just do these things alone. you need that support, you need that village, that family, and just accept the change that's coming, but also don't forget who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I love like that it goes like from him getting the key to the city, and then he's like doom scrolling immediately, and that was
Yes.
and I love that because it's just like the juxtaposition of it is just so hilarious, but also so real, and
Yes.
I almost wish that there was more of that, like Spidey doing his thing in the movie, because I mean, they show all of that in the trailer, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna get a little bit more of that, and I almost wish there was a little bit more. Because it was so good.
But I do like that moment where like he gets the key to the city, because the next cut is him sitting by his
Laundry,
by
yeah,
his
it
laundry,
is.
and he's just kind of twiddling the key around
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
has nothing to do with it.
Exactly. Like this is just a guy, and this is his job. Like basically, and he's
Yeah,
just,
I did want more because like they recreated all those comic panels and scene and covers, but like they showed all those in the trailer, so nothing was like
Yeah,
really like
yeah.
like oh they did that scene. Like probably the only thing we didn't really see was the tombstone, like when he's like
Yeah.
holding him over that comic scene. But we know we saw like images of it. We knew he was in the movie, but like I wish we had like a little bit more. Maybe we got the Shocker could have been in there. We could have gotten freaking I can't even think of any Spider-Man villains right now.
yeah. I mean, but there's just like there's like this gang war that happened, right? And they even kind of like pitched that in like before we knew what was going to happen,
Right.
And then I was like, okay, like let's go in to see, and that's why I feel
You
like
get the
there
hand.
was,
You get the hand. You get.
Yeah.
Is his name Captain Boomerang?
yeah, Captain
You
Boomerang,
get Captain Boomerang, the dude with the spikes on the toes.
Yeah, and there were so
It's
many great
Tarantula.
moments. There was even like
Shout out Tarantula.
what is it? He's like, let's end this on a high note. Bing.
Yeah, bing.
And like, I love that. And
Real quippy. Real comic book quip.
totally.
Quip Central.
And I do think that that's like stuff. I think those were maybe a little bit longer, and they cut it for time. And like, I don't know. I think we're like, okay, here y'all, like here's your Spider-Man, and then let's do what we want to do, which I think is like fine and fair. Like I think, but yeah, like there's definitely that moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're gonna tease me with this, and I want more. But
I like the fact that you said like he's quippy, but it didn't feel like MCU quippy. That felt
Exactly.
very Spider-Man quippy.
yeah.
Where it's like it didn't feel like there was a lot of like cheap MCU quippy jokes, where that's kind of become like post Endgame. There was that period where it felt like they were just kind of they were kind of like going through the motions, and you could just see the quips, and they're like just not landing. This felt like the humor felt very like earned for the most part. There was like the comedy felt more true to like characters and like what they're about, rather than like meeting an MCU mandate for like making a quip right there.
kind of going back to like how Andrew Garfield portrayed Spider-Man, like he like had those quick quips to like
Yeah.
when he's interacting with the criminals, like Max and all those guys, and even when Tom Holland was talking like the Wolf, like he's like I'm just the volunteer, and like just those
Yeah,
little
yeah.
kind of marks
Yeah,
I
it was
really
good.
like loved and appreciate.
He's like, what are my children's names? That was also a really nice payoff
Yeah,
at the end when he finally is whole. He actually remembers Detective DeWolf's children, which is very sweet. Jared, what is your favorite scene from the film?
Yeah, I'm gonna actually throw it back to the throw it back. No,
Throw it back real good.
I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna swing
Bad Bunny.
back to the end of the movie. I think y'all both got like I was going to actually say the end as well. We did talk about this. I'm a huge fan of that end credits because it's just like like at the end, and then for the same reason I really like the beginning. The one that got me the most emotional in the movie was the hospital after
Beautiful.
after the Punisher kind of goes in and puts the mask on and lets him
After
walk
the Punisher
out unmasked.
shoots him in the
After
back.
he shoots him, yeah. After this, yeah, that was crazy. Crazy.
No, let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. We're friends now. No, but it was that one was really kind of brought it home for me. And then the end credit scene just like made it boom, next level. But this one really brought it home to me because you can kind of see like we're kind of returning to this idea of like what does Spider-Man like mean, and like what there was a lot of things that were talked about in the movie of like what Spider-Man means to Peter, and like what Spider-Man is, what his relationship with Spider-Man is, and then we kind of bring it back externally too, almost of like this is also who we do it for, and then we talk about not doing it alone, and that idea of you're not alone in this, and you have to trust in other people and that they love you, and this is almost kind of like if we're talking about New York as a character, the way that I see it is like, oh yeah, like New York is here for you too. You know what I mean? And this is like, you're not alone because you have all these people who love you and everything like that. And so I thought that was really beautiful, and like also kind of relates it back to almost like a meta commentary of like what Spider-Man means to like the people in our world, you know? And I think that was really beautiful. And he has that amazing moment with the kid, like this thing.
Oh my god.
So awesome.
Yeah,
so awesome.
I think that scene's so impactful because it really stares like how New York sees Spider-Man. Like they love him, and we haven't had that since he made Spider-Man 2. Because in Homecoming, he was basically in Queens, trying to be the next Avenger. Far From Home is literally in London. No Way Home, he's dealing with. No Way Home is a good movie. I will not take that slander. It is not as bad as people think it is. But I say No Way. I meant Far From Home. But in No Way Home, he's like, everyone knows who he is at that point. So seeing like the whole city gathered around Spider-Man, like cheering him on, all hoping him the best. It was, like I said, beautifully seen and shown. And it was basically a love letter to not even just the characters, but the fans, like how much they love Spider-Man. We love Spider-Man.
Yeah, Jared and I, like, we rewatched Homecoming like a couple days before we watched
one of the best.
We watched Brand New Day.
Before this, probably my favorite.
But he did bring up, I remember, because like when they take the bus to DC for like the academic decathlon, it's like, oh, we're not in New York anymore. We've just driven to a random place. But I feel like also too, like post like Age of Ultron into like post, and then past Endgame, the MCU definitely had a problem of like, oh, we just go to a random isolated place and we have a skirmish that impacts nobody sort of thing. Like they just do they have their whole powers, but like Avengers, the first Avengers movie, and then like this Brand New Day type of thing, and going back to obviously like the Raimi movies, like the people are involved. They're like all around. They see this stuff, like they're in trouble and Spider-Man needs to like save them. Yeah. Sort of thing, where it's like then they've really become like the heroes become like status symbols and like icons for people.
Well, and you see how iconic they become to the individuals because you have every scene from the dude that was his mind was taken over. I think he's the guy that Jean Grey gets into his head and he's like, you got to take the Scorpion to Bellevue, and then he's like, I love you, Spider-Man. I would never do this to you. I love you. And then there's the guy with the turbo mode and the electric car that's like, I got you, Spidey. Boom, and he gets going, and it reminds me of the guy who's like, hey, Spider-Man, do a flip. This is a very natural progression of the first couple of the movies where, like you said, he was trying to be an Avenger, not the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man of New York City,
Yeah, and like, it's so central to his character. Like we have Gotham City doesn't exist, right? Like, maybe. No,
might be Chicago.
Metropolis.
I'm going Chicago.
Yeah, like Metropolis, but New York is like a real thing, like that's so tangible to people, and he's become such an icon and intertwined with that city. And like Marvel is so like in real world, you know what I mean? And so like it's just so cool, like whenever we acknowledge that, and that's always been a thing in the other movies. But I love how much like that was brought in that scene in particular, and the end credits. So love it. I gotta say is that one for sure.
I think after some deliberative thoughts about my favorite scene from the film, it's gonna be kind of quite a large section, but it's pretty much everything from the moment that you don't know MJ is being mind controlled by Jean Grey, but when MJ gets picked up, you have probably the biggest gasp I've experienced in a theater for a superhero movie in years, bro. Like nothing was as surprising as when MJ says, touch her, Peter. Like, I know you've been waiting or something like that. Exactly. And it feels terrible. So just fuck if MJ was there. Man, consent is making an appearance in this film in some interesting ways. But in some good ways, I think. But we'll get to, again, the end of this interaction. But then you find out that Jean Grey is in MJ's head, and then she's rage baiting him, and then he lashes out on MJ, which is crazy when Peter grabs MJ's neck, and then she kicks out. It's like it's giving Gwen Stacy broken neck, broken spine. Thank God they save her. And then that lethargic swing back where he's like, what is he like? Thwip? Oh yeah. What does he say?
He's like, Web, stop. Web, stop.
And those intimate ass moments that are in the similar vein to why I love the scenes and the inventive way that they're filming from inside of his mask. It's like there's a closeness of this movie that I think really like gets solidified by what I think does validate them bringing back MJ and Ned as this implicit, like while we didn't see it on screen, which I get I think is a valid gripe. 4 years have passed and that what it has taken for Peter to get to the point where he's at, where he's honestly pretty insecure about like being himself and moving forward. And I don't know, it encapsulates when like they're talking and like I'm kicking my feet because of course they have so much chemistry on screen, Zendaya and Tom Holland. and when he's behind the screen fixing his inhibitor and they're just having a conversation about their lives. It's just nothing is felt. There's no more natural relationship in the MCU, if not maybe all superhero movies, than the relationship between Zendaya and Tom Holland as MJ and Spider-Man.
I like going back to when like Jean is faking him out, as MJ.
Yeah.
I love when like that really like genuine moment from like Tom Holland where he really thinks that it's her and like he's like really getting very emotional.
Good and devastating.
It's so good. He's so good at playing that moment. Like you can feel like this weight is being like lifted off of him.
Yeah.
And then it just comes crashing down.
It was like Jonas said it. He was like, yep, he's like, you get one scene with me in the room with Ezra Bridger kissing my girl. You get one scene.
Oh my God.
You get one scene with me in here, and then it will be a very real reaction, and then I will storm out of the fucking scene.
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt made an appearance in this movie, guys.
Yes. Last thing I will say before I hand the mic to Jared, I do like when Jean like basically gives up the jig.
Yeah.
And like the face that Zendaya makes
she's so good.
Of like disgust.
Clearly the best
Peter.
actor in this movie is Zendaya.
Like this,
My God.
love that was kind of where she went for me, like full challengers, where it's like she's like just such a snarky asshole in that movie.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that she gets to like play MJ as a snarky asshole,
Which is so sick.
Which
I'm
is
like,
great. I was like,
amazing.
wow. And she's really, and like the way that she like stumbles back onto the thing and it's like, kind of threatening him. And like she gets like the red light down on her as before she like jumps off. I was like, dang, this is great. They really just put that whole thing together. Yeah.
Great lighting in that scene in particular.
Yeah, no, that's a great scene. I was only going to grab the mic because I was going to say, is that like Paul, right? Is MJ Paul?
I don't know if it was Paul,
what it's
but
implied?
I think it is Paul.
That's crazy. Okay, anyways.
He's credited as the boyfriend.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of ways they could take. Obviously, a very good actor, probably in his own right, and it might do something in future. But
great scene.
And it's not even over because like my favorite line from these scenes is like when Peter like asks MJ, it's like, what do you see? And MJ is just like, I see a really good guy who just might be changing. And I think that is literally the entire point of this movie, and his inability in the beginning to feel like he can change because he feels like he's going to lose his whole part of him because he sacrificed without realizing, I think, fully like how it impact like Peter Parker. He knew how to impact Spider-Man and the people he loved, but again, it's like this constant ebb and pull of like the thing that the Batman and the Spider-Man type characters do. It's like, how much are you willing to like protect your city or community at the behest of the loved ones that knowing that people will come after them. I mean, it's a timeless trope, but that might be I think that might be my favorite MJ on-screen MJ / Gwen Stacy Peter Parker moments we've ever seen. And then even it ending the way it does is so heartbreaking. Thank God they showed restraint of MJ being like, I don't remember you. And I think the lady and the woman and the girl that you fell in love with, thank you for that. But like, I don't know who you are. And even when she's like, swing me home, I'm like, that's fucking devastating when obviously MJ is thinking about what could have been maybe. And then it's great with how they rekindle the three of them at the very end. I just think it's a very good reason to bring them back.
I agree. And I
Real
think
man
like
Peter Parker, like swing her home still after all that.
I know. So good. So good.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, of course.
Of course.
But like,
no question about it. Opened up about kissing her and they were like chill about it. They like talked about it and they were like, oh yeah, it's all good. You didn't know.
Yeah.
It had tangible plot. It was a plot device as well in a good way. It was like, let me get back to fucking Tremel Tillman's ass over here trying to take out the X-Men before they even began.
My first impression actually of that was I actually wasn't messing with the fact that they brought back, like as I hinted before, and like the whole scene with Ned and them. But like on subsequent viewings, I think I was a lot more sold on it because they were almost addressing the fact, like, because there's the whole idea of like there's this community of people who are of the opinion that Spider-Man should be depressed and alone and everything, and I think that's like very central to his character in some ways. But then I think in a lot of ways it's like addressing that of saying like, yeah, like, see, we're committing to it. We're not going back on any of the No Way Home stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Peter needs to be alone in this,
like
and
the
be
saddest
depressed.
person alive. I mean, when he's like, you can even feel the droop on his face when MJ is like, you guys look like
and I love
best friends.
And I love that they make it clear, even though it might be a little bit ambiguous at the end, I guess it seems like with the whole
Look at that
exactly.
drawing.
It was great.
Two best buddies.
But like, even
you.
if though it might be a little bit ambiguous at the end, like, did Jean change anything? I've been seeing stuff with that, and then they have like the little dap up at the end, but
Perfect ending, top 5 MCU endings. I'm not gonna lie.
In that moment, though, like I'm glad that they're respecting what happened in No Way Home, and unlike that was the thing that had the biggest gripe with, is like, as long as you're respecting that and we're not like retconning anything, because you know, I didn't want like a Rise of Skywalker situation where it's like everyone's like no, so but you know what I mean. So yeah, I think like I love that part. Agree with you like way more on the second and third viewing.
And I'm only grabbing the mic back because I think I want to wrap us up a little bit. We still got a couple more questions. It is a great scene, and I think there's a lot to chew on in this movie that I honestly didn't feel like coming out of, you know, like for example, like Far From Home. I don't want to shit on it. It's a good movie. I think all of the Home movies are good. Is it my favorite one? I don't know if I could talk about it as deeply as this. So that's like, I think another credit to this. And something else that is like, we've avoided talking about, and I'll throw it over to Chris. We'll wrap around for some thoughts on really like the first real member of the X-Men, like a true recast of Jean Grey, the Dark Phoenix herself. Who knows if we'll ever, is that her full name? The Dark Phoenix?
No, that's just like
it's a Phoenix.
Go crazy.
It's a Phoenix entities and becomes like the Dark Phoenix, but like basically it's just Phoenix. But like the Dark Phoenix when it becomes like all the evil now. But her superhero name is just Jean Grey, basically.
I mean, they do not shy away from how powerful Jean Grey is when she is awakened. I do have to say that I have to say this is part of. I do have to say that I have to say. Jean Grey is partially some of my favorite parts of the movie, and unfortunately some of the parts that detract from this being like a nearly perfect superhero movie, in my opinion, and making it a bit too bloated. But I'll throw it over to Chris because I am curious to see what you think about like how they utilize Sadie Sink's Jean Grey. And do you like Sadie Sink as Jean Grey so far? And he's like, I guess we got like roughly half of the movie involves her, you know? It's a 2 hour, 30-minute movie.
I think I enjoyed Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. It definitely felt very like Stranger Things, like Max for sure. I definitely
can't escape the Max allegations.
Definitely escaped the Max. It sounded like Tremel Tillman cannot escape the Severance. Tina cannot escape the Bear. Like, there's lots of people like from streaming shows where I was like, okay, like they're just kind of doing. They're kind of
doing that thing.
They're
bringing the best actors from these shows, or some of them. Yeah.
I would say again, I'm gonna keep going back to like this like, and again, Sadie Sink is great in like the moments that she gets, and I'll definitely talk about that. But I think Jean Grey in this movie is a very communal character because she is played by tons of people, especially when like, you know, the body jumping and like everyone has to like basically like. These like little like background extras, little background players have to like be Jean Grey for like probably 5 seconds. There's that one guy when he, you know, after Spider-Man like triggers his web grenades, and it's like I don't know what his name is, but like the black
Spidey.
Yeah, that guy. I was like, wow, this guy is great. He's like, he gets the most time besides like Scorpion, I think, as like, you know, one of Jean Grey's possessions.
Frank Castle, little zest, little
possessions. But that guy was like, oh, that guy kind of blew me away in his little like thing.
Great moment.
He felt like there's a very like he was able to put on a very like intimidating face to Jean Grey type of thing, and then obviously it becomes like then like 7 or 8 more people like have lines as Jean Grey, and I think they're all really good. I think Destin, Creton, and crew did a really good job of like making Jean Grey mostly consistent.
Yeah. Without having to throw in any X-Men 97 theme in the background like they did in Miss Marvel, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I love that moment, but like whatever. You don't need that like 17 times.
Yeah. But it's like when Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, she feels like very like kind of like hurt, lost girl.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of like when she's in other people, she's much more like witty and like mean and like very like kind of runs the gamut of like the emotions. When it's her, she's just like very hurt.
Yeah.
Like, which I thought was interesting. And like you see that at the end when it's like, you know, she's trying to tell Spider-Man like, we are alone. No one you know, is there for us. We have to do this on our own. People don't like us anymore.
Like putting on a mask.
Yeah, basically like putting on a mask. She's like,
I wonder who knows about that.
And she's talking through like a different person. And I thought it was another interesting decision where before you realize it's Sadie Sink, she's talking with the voice of other people. But then when you know it's Sadie Sink, when you know it's Jean Grey, she talks through other people and it's her voice. You don't hear anyone else.
I like that.
Yeah,
nice little edit together moment.
I thought that was a cool like editing decision. And again,
creative direction.
Lots of creative direction that doesn't
cool.
require lots of money or budget. That's just like that's just a cool like solid decision.
Yeah.
For that, yeah.
Man, it's so funny. I mean, all I can think about when we think about Jean Grey is like the final 30 minutes of this movie, and then how sick it is when she takes over every single member of the Hand. I just shout out to Jackie Chan.
That's a great scene. I mean, we haven't gotten to talk about that scene.
We haven't even really talked about the action. We've talked a lot about the substance of what it means to be Peter in this movie. And I mean, you could splice in a little bit with this conversation about Sadie Sink, her version of Jean Grey. But I mean, I think like the action really like pops up a lot whenever she's on screen, and it's not. I mean, she is kind of at the center of a lot of the action set pieces. Whether it's the Hulk hulking out, incredible scene, love that. I'm sure it was great in IMAX when you saw it. You've got everything at the very end with how she controls the hand and she's able to talk through people. She's driving around using folks. Like a lot of stuff outside of the regular day-to-day Spider-Man duties you see in the first half of the movie are all kind of like offsets of Jean Grey getting involved in the mix as kind of like this hurt girl that I don't even think there's a twin or like a sister involved in the comic books, right? Like Sarah, she has a sister. Okay, there you go. So we get her sister involved, not for long. R.I.P. VMAX. That's a great scene. The VMAX scene is fucking crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. Incredible moment. I'm like, this movie has at least 3 or 4 big, whoa, gotcha moments for me where I was like gasping in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, Jean Grey is so great. And I think, did you think that she was too evil? I've been seeing some people say she's a little bit too. She like threw that dude in front of the car, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. He's kind of dead, right? He's an old man.
Overkill for her, but like she's like angry teen. Like, dude, her sister was abducted. She doesn't know what's happening to her, so she wants her back. So I think it really establishes her origins very well.
I think so.
This character would fit very well in this story. Like they need that Jean character, so kind of like Peter can now be that mentor towards Jean. Yeah, and I love how they're going the teenage aspect with the X-Men right now. And I was a big fan of X-Men Evolution growing up. Have them be young teenagers like in high school, like learning their powers, exactly, angsty, and then probably getting in the. I'm pretty sure they're going to announce the whole cast soon, but I'm pretty sure they're going to do like the first class route. We have Iceman, Cyclops, Angel, Beast, Jean. That's the whole core 5 X-Men right there, and just. Sadie Sink's portrayal, I thought she was like the best actress in the third act for sure.
Yeah.
And I just can't wait for the future of her character, like what she brings to the story. And I honestly it's so cool that we have a movie. I talked about this in a video, but we have a movie that's produced and made by Sony and Marvel, a character like Spider-Man, and then you have someone from the Hulk, the Universal Studios
that's true.
And then you have
like
someone
4 studios.
Yeah, the Punisher. He was owned by Netflix.
A lot of loopholes here. Yeah,
a lot of loopholes. And then you have Fox now that Disney bought, and then now you have Marvel and Disney with Black Widow. So everybody that we want. This is a movie that we kind of all wanted since the MCU started. We have everybody able to be in one movie. No restrictions, no guidelines. Like they can just be in a comic book movie together. It just shows how the MCU has come so far now.
That's true. It's a movie that could only be made now. Yeah. Which is very interesting. It's very cool.
Well, and it doesn't really I don't think, credit to this, I think while the flashback scene was necessary, but also somewhat unnecessary in my opinion, especially how it just kind of added to a little bit of the bloat in the back third of the film. But, it like all comes together with the Marissa Tomei scene. And I know that doesn't work for everyone. Really I know it didn't work for you, Chris. I think it really did work for me. I wish that the writing was a little different at how they framed how Aunt May was talking to Jean Grey. But I think just again, I'm just such a sucker for like creativity, like in the way that they shoot these superhero movies. I've never seen something like shooting in to the brain like that. And it's like only Peter gets that because of how hard it is to already get into his mind. But I do agree with like the criticisms of like, maybe that could have been even better, but it's the best when it's Peter and Jean Grey speaking with each other.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I think my problem with the scene is the Aunt May monologue itself. Yeah. I don't think that's as strongly written. She has better moments with Peter when like at the end of No Way Home when she dies and all this stuff, and like there's like better scenes with the two of them like bonding and talking than that. Mm-hmm. But I do like when Aunt May is replaced by Peter, and then Peter is like, hey, like you don't have to do this alone. You have me, type of thing. Mm-hmm. That was the best part of it for me. It was like when the different like the stagecraft, I guess, how they switch places and also this stuff. I think is very cool. He goes from like being the student to being the teacher in that moment, which I thought was cool.
I think it's because like I think this scene was you assume that it's right after she finds out Peter is Spider-Man, and we kind of deprived this scene like in Far From Home. Like it just jumps like she knows like we're cool and all that. So I feel like it kind of took that little step back, like with Aunt May and Peter's character, because like we had the Homecoming trilogy with them, and like she's okay with Peter being Spider-Man, and then the whole scene where end of No Way Home when she R.I.P. passes away, like we have that big impactful scene and how she gives him the advice with great power comes great responsibility, which we see him write down. It's like frames like in his billboard, and I wish we kind of maybe got a little more of that. Maybe he like says that to Jean, because that's like his new life motto. So maybe that him like advising that to Jean could have been a better scene. But I mean, I agree with both parties. Like I like the scene a lot. I understand where you're coming from. So
Yeah, I think I'm definitely like I like the intention behind it, and I think it's really cool that Aunt May ultimately still becomes like the savior of the day because of the morals that she provides Peter. And I think like I thought that was really, really cool. But I will say, yeah, like I think it was just the writing where there was like there's that line where it was like, and that's your greatest responsibility, and then we're like, okay, so we're doing that again, or like,
but towards a different character. Like, what does that mean to her?
Yeah, and it was just kind of like it didn't, I think, quite tie into everything that was going on in the way that maybe it felt like it was leading to. But so I think we're in agreement in that aspect.
Chris, you want to close up our Jean Grey conversation?
Yeah, I mean, do you want to say something? You want to do it? No, if you got something.
No, nothing about Jean.
Pinoy versus Pinoy.
Pinoy versus the one mic.
The one mic.
Yeah. But again, I think in terms of like Jean Grey, I think again the strength of the character is in the communal aspect and like the possession power thing, because that is different than what all the other Jean Greys have had. It's like where Jean Grey has like enormous power in all this, in all like the X-Men movies, and again they tried Dark Phoenix twice.
We don't need Dark Phoenix 3 times.
It didn't work. So they very took I like the fact that they went to like a pre-X-Men Jean Grey where it's like, I'm all alone. I don't see like a future for myself. You know, she's literally living through other people.
Yeah.
And
it's again another example of restraint. I think the movie shows great restraint and control over what could possibly, like, what these powers could blossom into.
I mean, it showed that in the movie. Like, she only was able to jump mines, and then she like got her telekinesis powers. So like her developing her mutant powers as well in this movie, I thought was really cool. How she's just not just Jean yet, you know, getting to that Jean that we all know in the comics.
And last thing about restraint, I think on that note, I'm glad that they weren't going full X-Men. You know what I mean? Like even at the end, they were like,
oh my god, I was like, they're going to the X-Mansion. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Show me Charles Xavier's
I thought a wheelchair was gonna pop up.
I know. We were like, no,
we get some bald head, and we don't know who it is yet.
I'm glad that they didn't, and they didn't even say they're not. I don't know. Are they legally allowed to say mutant yet? They're not even.
They're allowed.
They did.
Yeah.
But they didn't say it. They said mutation.
Mutation. Yes.
And sidebar, I love his conversation with Bruce Banner and their talk about mutation, and it's kind of crazy that Peter will low-key be part of
He's the reason the X-Men are going to be hunted down.
I know, which is like, I don't know how I feel about that yet.
Low-key, I gotta say it, I love Spidey. He's low-key an op. He works with the cops too much. I'll say it. He's a low-key an op.
Spider cop.
High-key spider cop in this movie.
Why are you doing mass surveillance?
Half point off for the mass surveillance. This Spider-Man would get eviscerated on Instagram in New York in 2026. They'd be like, Spidey!
Palantir Spidey.
Palantir Spidey!
That's true. It's a little bit of propaganda right there.
Palantir Man.
Very casual mass surveillance that he does on people. It's like the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the little sonar system.
But you're like, well,
stuff.
he has control over it, so it must be okay.
And they have like the moral dilemma in that movie where this one is like, you know, I found facial match.
There's the Hulks in this, guys. Don't even think about it.
But then he's also friends with the Punisher, who is on the opposite end of that. So I guess it also Punisher great in this movie.
Punisher's great in this movie.
I will say the thing I think about, we talked about this when we first saw it, but then I saw an edit recently with Frank. It's like when Jean pops into Frank's head, and then he's like, "Whoa, this guy's got issues," and then it's like the scene of like his family getting killed, and you're like, yeah, like this is a different Frank almost, but like I love don't get me wrong, I love their interactions, but I'm like, he's come a long way, I would say, like from the Netflix, partly because
Frank
he is
Castle
so messed up.
Has a dirtier mouth than he does in the Odyssey, than any character in the Odyssey, in an R-rated movie.
Totally.
He said, "You got to be shitting me. What the hell?"
Yeah. But he's definitely a little bit more of a teddy bear in this one, which is, I think it works super well in this movie.
I mean, I like how he shoots Spider-Man.
Right? When they did that scene, my jaw dropped, like straight from the Ultimate Comics. Like, I don't know if you guys read The Death of Spider-Man, the Ultimate Comic Universe, but like straight from, and then even that watered down version of Captain America's speech, how Peter's like, when you grow up, going to be the greatest. Like Frank is like a very simple like speech of that. Not directly what Captain America says, but just showing how like Spider-Man just the bravest thing like he's ever seen, and how he will and is like going to be the greatest.
I think it's time we get into our top Spider-Man live action. I need to say this again for the people in the back. This is a live action ranking, but there are now 9 live action movies that have started with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in 2002, 2003, I believe. 2002. God, 24 years of Spider-Man movie. I'd like to just ask the biggest fan here to get started, as I also collect my thoughts a bit, and I will ask for all 9. Do you want to start from
9? Okay.
Fuck it. We're doing it. Jonas is going to go crazy with this short.
Oh my God.
Let's start from the bottom and we'll finish with the number 1, Spidey tie.
We can have the whole podcast just talk about this, but I'll just say what my rankings are. Only live action, right? We're not okay. Because if we were including, in Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie.
It
Yes,
is
the Spider-Verse
clear.
movies are 1 and 2. Nothing comes close.
Yes, clap him ahead.
That's
Clap
it.
him ahead.
Yeah, that's it.
Da-da-da-da.
This is not. If we're talking about we're adding those in, it's not a discussion.
No,
it's not a
Spider-Verse
discussion.
is the best Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
Yeah, and Peter Parker's my favorite too. All right, so going out, just saying my list like without no explanation. It hurts to say, number 9 is Spider-Man 3. All these movies are good. I do not hate any single one of them. I enjoy all of them like with a passion. Just some are just better than the others. Number 8 shocks me because when actually Spider Mondays happened a couple years ago, I got to rewatch all of them in theaters like every week, so fresher mind, little frontal lobe developed. Number 8 was Homecoming.
Oh
yeah, that's
no.
I know that's a hot take.
Oh man.
You know what's weird? Because Homecoming, when that came out, was my favorite live action Spider-Man movie.
So how does it flip all the way down?
It's just as I got older, I realized I like the other better. Number 7,
Man.
we have Far From Home.
Okay.
This is gonna cause 6, Spider-Man 2.
Ooh.
6, Spider-Man 2. I know it's considered like one of the best superhero movies in general, but I just like some Spider-Man movies better than this.
right.
Number 5. Oh!
You don't get to do that. Oh! Bottom
5.
Number 5, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I love this movie so much. The suit, everything about it. Like, Death of Gwen Stacy, going on. Number 4 is No Way Home. No, so it's hard to compare that because that's an event. That's like Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War. Those putting them on a list is just unfair because they are monuments and events.
We were almost talking about this because it's going to be on my list too, but these are almost like we're not judging them as movies almost, like we're judging them as events. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what
So
I mean?
It's hard to like put No Way
Like
Home.
pieces of entertainment. Yeah.
Because obviously No Way Home
Yeah.
could be like number 1 and shit like that. But like as a Spider-Man movie, for me, it's number 4. Number 3, we have the original Spider-Man movie, Tobey Maguire, 2002. That holds up. Such a classic, great origin Spider-Man movie. Number 2, The Amazing Spider-Man, which was my favorite live-action Spider-Man. It hit every mark for me. Like, it was the most Spider-esque movie until Brand New Day came out. It is now my number 1 favorite live-action Spider-Man movie. It's just a Spider-Man comic and story come to life in the best way possible. A love letter to the fans and everything. So I absolutely love this movie.
I love it.
Some gutsy calls from at Spidey Ties. Send him your love or your hate on Letterboxd. Chris Angkico, it's your turn. You got 9 to rank. Where are you going?
Cool.
9 to 1. 9 to 1.
I'm about to get burned to shreds here.
Run that shit.
I'm gonna get got because first of all, I haven't seen either of the Garfield movies.
No,
No.
he got.
That's the thing.
Should've kept
I'm
to the
like,
top
I
4.
just know I'm gonna get got right here.
This needs to change soon.
Yeah. Well, if you'd like
Interesting.
to watch them with me,
man.
I'm so yeah. He's shocked. Oh,
So
this
7
is
to 1 for this guy, just so,
So
you
we're
can
going-
keep it
we're
pushing
going
and keep
7 to
his
1.
heartbreak to a low. Yeah, put the helmet on. No,
Yeah,
I'm
we're
kidding.
going 7-1. Expresses disappointment.
Can't even say anything.
7 to 1.
There we go.
It's late in the pod. It's late in the
There we
pod.
go.
7 to 1.
There we go. Okay, so 7, Far From Home. So yeah, we're just ranking Maguire and Holland movies. So 7, Far From Home. 6, because I haven't seen it in a while. Not because I don't, because I think it's like the second worst, but the first Spider-Man. I haven't seen it in a while. Yeah.
You need to have a Spider-Man marathon right now.
Yeah, I see. That's the thing. We're on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of like familiarity with the Spider-Man
Classic.
movies. That's for sure. Let's see. 5. What was my 5? I think it was Spider-Man 3. I think it was Spider-Man 3. You know what?
Wow.
You know what? There's memes to last a lifetime, though.
It is.
in those movies.
How much?
Gonna put some dirt in your eye.
Let's put some dirt
gonna
in your
put
eye.
some dirt in
little,
your eye.
Little Goblin Jr. gonna cry.
The Hobgoblin. This is the Pinoy
Hobgoblin.
Goblin over here.
Yeah. And then I would probably go with where were we at? 4 now? Probably Brand New Day.
Wow.
Yeah, I put Brand New Day there. And then I put Spider-Man 2 at 3. And then I put No Way Home at 2. I actually and
Woohoo! There it
Homecoming
is.
number 1. Homecoming, like I said,
Yeah.
like I think it made a big impression on all of us when we first saw it. And for me, the impression like still holds up. Even though it does have the MCU isms and has the problems of like, Iron Man Jr. accusations.
Mhm.
I just like the fact that at that point in time, it was doing things differently as a Spider-Man movie than everything else. Because like before, it was like, yes, he's always like he's growing up, he's alone, his secret identity stuff. I like that Ned is introduced right away, like to give him a friend to like talk to. They're in high school. It's like a fun sort of like teen movie. I think that's something.
Great teenage Spider-Man introduction movie.
Yeah, great teenage Spider-Man introduction movie. I also love Michael Keaton as the Vulture. I love
Top 5 MCU villain to this day.
I love the sort of the relationship. Obviously, the whole like the reveal at the end with Liz and stuff, and like how Michael Keaton plays that is incredible. It's one of the best like acting performances in the MCU. And yeah, just overall, I think it's just like it's a really like hot start, I think, to the Spider-Man stuff. It really made like a big impression on me, obviously. So Homecoming's gonna be my number one.
Do we get to put in the Civil War like 30 minutes he's in the movie with the Brooklyn?
You know what?
Needle
That's
drop?
a good question.
Is that honorable
That
mention?
is literally the best Spider-Man ever, in my opinion. Like Civil War Spider-Man is literally like my favorite.
It was such a great introduction to Spider-Man in the MCU. Well, I mean, at that point, we got to include Infinity War and Endgame, though. So I
true.
don't include those.
Definitely not included. My God.
Events.
Asking people to do 9 of these rankings is crazy. So I'm going to ask you, Jared, to give us your 9 to 1.
All right.
Where are you feeling?
Oh man, this is a
a
lot
couple of good
different of a
lists.
list than I thought it was gonna be, and I'm actually super loving it because mine is pretty different too. All right, at number 9, I've got Spider-Man: Far From Home. I think it's fine. I don't hate it, but like there's some really cool stuff, but there's just so much like compared to everything else. I'm like, come on, like why is he in Europe?
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I'm joking, but
The Night Monkey, bro. Night Monkey
and then,
mentioned.
like, you know what?
Night
The
Monkey
thing,
mentioned in this movie.
I'm very sorry, but the one that really kind of annoyed me was like, why are we playing Back in Black while he's making his like? Come on, don't do this.
Terrible
Don't do
needle
this to
drop.
me.
Terrible needle drop.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Spidey time.
No fighting in this pod.
I'm
Just
sorry,
questions.
Spidey
Just
time.
questions.
All right. Yes.
For real.
And I don't really even mind the Iron Man Jr. thing, as it was just too much. It was like, okay, at number 8, I have Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think there's some great stuff in this movie. Arguably the second best suit ever, in my opinion. But yeah, there was just too much. I mean,
Yeah.
Dane DeHaan, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Dane. I didn't think
He
was a
looks
great
terrible.
Goblin.
I'll say it, he looks terrible.
There's some, it's like great stuff surrounded by some really not good stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Number 7, I have Spider-Man 3. Again, I think it's hard to rate these because, like I was saying, I watched Spider-Man 3 probably the most out of everything on this list. But it's just, yeah, I mean, if I'm being objective, it can't. Put some dirt in your eye. Number 6, I've got The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
I think great. Andrew. I love Andrew. But it's just like for some reason it didn't like resonate with me as the other ones on these lists, on the rest of this list. I then have Spider-Man No Way Home. I kind of just put this in the middle because, again, like the event, like it could be up here, like depending on how you rate it, right? And then I have Spider-Man 1. First superhero movie probably I've ever watched.
Iconic.
Iconic.
Willem
Toby,
Dafoe.
iconic. Willem Dafoe,
the only
Willem
Green
Dafoe,
Goblin that matters.
iconic, so iconic that we had to bring him back. It was like, I mean,
J.K. Simmons.
and J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
I don't think
No
there's
J.
it's
Jonah
like,
Jameson in
hear
Brand
me
New
out.
Day.
More iconic of a casting than Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Might be a hot take,
Might be a hot take. Put it in there.
but in there.
Play the clip.
Okay. Then I have Spider-Man Homecoming. This would have been a lot lower, but then we watched it recently, and I was like, "Yeah, this is really good." I love the, come on, Spider-Man, like that.
Yeah, of course.
Amazing scene.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton as Vulture, like you said, amazing. Yeah, I think definitely a different take on Spider-Man, which I can respect.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got Spider-Man: Brand New Day at number 2. Very close,
So
very
close,
close. Very close. I really liked it. I think the more and more I watched it, more and climbed up the list. I think it's just there's so much to like about it. And if I'm talking about everything that I've like really wanted or whatever, it's hitting those marks. I got Spider-Man 2 at number 1.
There it is. Which is so funny given how he's feeling. You're
I
both
know
going to put some dirt in both of y'all's
I was
eyes.
so surprised it's so low.
Yours is a good list though. Spider-Man 2. I mean, I don't knock people when they put Spider-Man 2 as like top list.
Thank you,
It's
thank you.
considered like one of the best superhero movies like out there. Like
It's just so tight as a superhero movie, and it deals with its themes really well. But I think like you could make the argument like Spider-Man film wise, there's probably better ones.
Congratulations, you made it through the gauntlet. My God, what a gauntlet I'm asking you all to go through. Yes.
Do you have a ranking?
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh man, Andrew, you're gonna hate me, man.
You got the iPad, so
The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I have very fond memories of watching it in theaters with the dude to my left.
We went to like a 9 o'clock showing, me, you, and Jackie. Like
Thursday night, opening day.
whoa.
There is a. Well, I'm going to say the most hater shit that I think anyone has said in this pod. There is a reason they canceled that franchise. It is not Andrew Garfield. It is not Andrew Garfield, I will say. But I'm sorry. There's a reason they canceled it. I didn't need... It was so bloated.
Devastating.
Complete waste of Jamie Foxx. I mean, like, the effects are not that great. Still one of the best suits, though. One of the best opening scenes. I do think Andrew Garfield is just like, thank God they might, like... Actually, not thank God, because you need to let these things die. But, like, look, I love Andrew. I do not like The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I am putting at number 8... Oh my God, I'm looking at the list. I'm going Far From Home at number 8, I think. I can't deal. The Paris thing, the Europe thing, great point. Prague, I don't need him in Prague, bro. It took him 8 years. It took him 10 years just to get to a fucking like New York movie. Anyways, I mean, this is going to be some hater shit for real. Yeah. Oh my God, fuck me, Mysterio. And then the whole thing with Nick Fury in that is aged so poorly, in my opinion. Not a fan of the Nick Fury cameos, especially when you figure out what happens down the line with him. Or
yeah, it's true. It's really just a bad holdup of his character.
Terrible holdup of his character.
Because unlike in the Marvels, he's not doing really anything anyway. So it's like...
I'm saying, it's like there was no payoff of even his character.
Yeah.
So we'll go Far From Home 8. I think I'm going to go Spider-Man 3. I will have to go Spider-Man 3 at 7. It's just something about these sequels that I was just like... Again, there was also, unfortunately, a reason that franchise never got the fourth. Like, there was supposed to be a fourth movie. Sinister 6 was supposed to be the Amazing Spider-Man 3, right? It was a Sinister 6 movie leaked. They were setting it up a little bit. The Doc Ock character was going to be someone. Anyways.
You want forgiveness?
You want forgiveness?
Get religion.
And that's why they did not make another one of those movies.
That's why they should have.
They should have actually get religion.
I want you to kill Peter Parker.
Number 6. This might be kind of spicy. Number 6, I'm going Spider-Man 1. So we're going Spider-Man 1 and number 6. I think number 5 is The Amazing Spider-Man. I do think I like The Amazing Spider-Man. Pretty decent chunk. I really like that. He loves it. Hey, Andrew Garfield, you want to come on the pod? We got your number 1 fan right here. Amazing Spider-Man at number 5. I think at number 4, I've got to put No Way Home at 5. It's just a too much reference to be higher up on the list, but an incredible experience. One of the days I'll never forget in my life. Number 3, Homecoming. Number 3 is Homecoming. Number 2 is Spider-Man 2. And number 1 is Spider-Man Brand New Day. An Asian man has made the best Spider-Man live action movie. And that's where I'll end this. Pinoy's versus the world has come to an end because we actually just took on the whole. We did. A lot of Filipino representation in this movie, but I just love Brand New Day for all of the reasons that the last hour and 20 odd minutes will have told you why we have complicated feelings about it, but also really like the film as a whole. Were you trying to say something?
No, I was just going to say I was thinking about the Filipino thing.
Yeah.
We'll say in No Way Home when Andrew Garfield and Toby come through the portal, the Ned's Lola, and they speaks Tagalog. R.I.P. She died. She died recently.
R.I.P.
But like
Lola.
that whole scene, like she's just like speaking Tagalog and basically just be like, "Hey, can you get the webs off the
Tagalog
walls?"
maybe in one of the top 3 most iconic superhero scenes of all time.
Very not
up there with Portals.
It's not talked about enough.
It's not.
Just Ned and Ned's Lola are the first people to see.
Thank you, John
The
Watts.
2 Spider-Men walking through the. That's the thing. It wasn't even Destin in that one. It was just like for some reason they're like, you know what? They're gonna show up in Ned's house.
And what would make sense? He would have a Lola. That'd be like, get rid of the spiderwebs in the upper right-hand corner.
A lot
please.
of representation in
I'm
these.
going to bed.
And also, Spider-Man is canonically 5'7". We'll
there
take
you
that
go.
one as a win for the Filipino community.
Huge win. Huge win for the Short Kings. Canonically, like in line with Wolverine height, which is great. Wow, what a great conversation. I mean, we've already lost 1 camera. So before we lose the next 2, I'm going to ask us all to go around and give our final thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day. If you got any, Chris, how you feeling?
Again, it's a cool movie. I've really enjoyed this talk.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's pushed my opinion any, but I will say that I do respect everyone's opinion, and I do, and like, yes, it is a movie I respect like a lot.
That's all we can ask for out
many
of these
things.
MCU films anymore.
And I think that's where I want to leave that as. Movie I respect a lot, and I hope Destin and Creton gets to do the other ones, and I assume he will.
What if the Spider-Man that's crossing over into our universe in the post-credits scene is a Naruto Spider-Man? And that's the end of Naruto live action.
Just using, just saving
Portal
some money on the
Jitsu.
budget. Yeah.
Portal no Jitsu.
Yeah.
Jared Garalde, do you have any final thoughts? And yeah, where do you feel at the very end of this movie where we get the spider tracker post-credit scene? Will Spider-Man return?
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, like, what is that? Is
So
that going to
ass.
be?
Not
I'm
a fan.
assuming
I'm
it's
not a
like
fan.
going to
Hold
be
on. You'll get
Battle
your time.
World.
You'll get
I
your
don't know. Is it Miles? Is it Toby? That's what people are saying. I don't know.
Maybe Andrew to start off
Who
the next
knows?
film. I don't know.
Anyways, I mean, enough final thoughts. I mean, obviously, it's crazy how much this movie has grown on me since we got it, and I just think that, yeah, it's gonna be really cool to see how this movie ages, especially because, like, are we still just like coming off of like a lot of maybe Spider-Man content that a lot of people were not happy with, and now people are liking this, or is this gonna age as like one of the better? Is it gonna age better? Is it gonna age worse? Like, but I think, just judging off of my thing, I think it is gonna go down as like one of the best. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Tyler Bowie, your time to shine one last time today.
First off, I want to talk about the post-credit scene. So we brought that up. I thought it was a great post-credit scene because it gives you that little tease of like, oh, Spider-Man's like, what's happening? Why is he in space? It's like a different world, different universe Spider-Man, because we got that glitch. Could be Miles, Toby, Andrew, Tom Holland. Like, is it establishing that he's going to be in Doomsday? I don't know. That's, for me, I think the post-credit scene like shows like, oh, something's going to happen and we're going to have to find out in the next one. And I think that just hit the mark for me. I know a lot of people didn't care for it, but that's just what I thought about it.
Would you say then that's one of your favorites? Does it just kind of hit the middle, just kind of satisfy you?
Just hits the middle.
Yeah, just kind of satisfied you.
I
Yeah.
say one of the best post-credit scene. Oh, I can't even, that's a whole nother list. We won't even get into that.
we can't.
We can't get that. But talking about like how this movie made me feel, like it's obviously not a secret that I absolutely love and adore this movie. For me, as a huge Spider-Man fan, like I have a tattoo of him right there, is everything I've ever wanted and more. It just really reminded me why I love this character so much, how we can all relate to him, how he goes through these struggles, has his power, responsibility, but still chooses to be a good guy. And I keep bringing it back, like even this whole message is like, you can't do this alone in life. And just even though he has all these powers and all these doesn't show any things, he still is a person. So that's one thing I love about Spider-Man, just always doing the nice thing, the right thing, being a good guy. And yeah, I love this movie.
That's beautifully put. Spidey tie. It really takes a Peter Parker to know one, you know what I mean? Tyler Bowie to know a Peter Parker. There's nothing else I can say. I love that he's just a good guy going through some changes in this movie. He should drop the surveillance, though. I really do think he should drop the Spidey surveillance. Sorry, Spidey. Sorry, Spidey fans. Wow. This meant much longer than I thought it was going to go, and I'm so happy we're able to do it with 2 mics.
Yeah.
I'll bring mine next time. Sorry, Jonas. Which will bring me to the very end of saying this has been another episode of Pinoy's versus the World. Thanks again for watching, listening, like, subscribe. As always, edited, produced, and fully brought together, shorts-wise as well. Check us out on Instagram. Jonas has been putting in a lot of work on all of the editing process of this channel. Thank you, Jonas Hyllseth, once again for editing and producing everything we do. Hosted by myself and Chris. I actually don't think we ever say that at the end. Check us out on Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff. I think we got 4 people to say peace out to, so we'll go boom, 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 boom. As always, my name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
My name is Tyler Bowie.
And I'm Jared Garalde.
And we pulled it off with 2 mics to y'all. Check out Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's a fun time. Thanks again for watching. We'll talk with you all in the next one. Peace.